Okay, so I was doing a little research on which video to shoot this week. What topic do I want to talk about? And did some searches and found out that the number one question being asked right now in terms of real estate by far is this: should I buy a home right now? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, there's a lot going on in terms of changes in the market. Interest rates, you've probably heard a lot of things. You've probably seen some things on the news. So if you are in the market to buy a home, should you buy a home right now? That is the question. And the short answer is yes. I know, shocking that I, real estate professional, would tell you to buy a home, but what we're gonna do is go through the reasons for that and actually go through the pros and cons of buying a home right now. And seeing if that makes sense for you and showing, the upsides, the downsides, and that types of thing, and really why I think it's a great time to buy a home. So, okay, should I buy a home right now? My answer is yes. What are the pros and cons? I like to start with the cons of buying a home right now to get the bad stuff out of the way. So the cons, really the one big con, we'll talk about a few of them, but the one big one, which you know about, are interest rates. Interest rates have risen dramatically. I've talked about this at length, so we don't need to go into it, but on any given day, they're hovering between 5.5% or 6.5%, which is a lot different from even 6 months ago where you could still find something in the threes. That affects affordability in a big way. My wife and I just bought a new house. We're moving, we need more space, and we were looking at homes a while ago, not really looking too hard, and we finally ended up finding one we wanted, and because the market has changed, we were able to get into that house. But when you look at the monthly payments just based on the different interest rates from a year ago till now, it's something like $700 to $800. Yeah, ow. And we still bought it because it was the right move for us. So that's the big con. Con number two, if you can call it that, I'm kind of trying to look at this from all angles, but it's that home prices are still appreciating. So we've seen so much appreciation. Prices haven't dropped. They're almost certainly not going to drop for reasons I've talked about before as well. But if you're someone waiting for, is this the right time? Let's wait to see what happens. The con is that prices are still very strong, and we're still in a seller's market because it's still, even though we have more inventory online, it's still an imbalance of inventory in favor of sellers. So those are all the cons I can find. Let's go over the pros. And again, number one is the big one. This is the easiest time to buy a home in literally years. And this is really the only pro I'm gonna sit on, but it kind of encompasses everything else. So all of the stuff that has been happening over the last couple of years, all the pains you felt if you were a home buyer, maybe you struck out, maybe you made a lot of offers and weren't able to get into one, maybe you did get a home, which is great. All those things you had to do, go way over asking price, the appraisal gap coverage, waiving contingencies, most of that stuff is a thing of the past at this point. The bidding wars are essentially over, not everywhere, not for every home, but in general, they are over. And having to put away $50,000 to $70,000, having to have that much more cash reserve on top of your down payment to do this appraisal gap coverage, that in general, not needing to happen right now. If you're a buyer, you've been waiting on the sidelines. Maybe you did strike out, or maybe you're just like, oh, this market's too crazy. We don't want to go buy something and have to do all this stuff. This is the time. I cannot stress that enough. Have home prices gone down? No, they're still at historic highs, but you are going to be able to negotiate in the process of buying a home, which wasn't really an option for a while. You're gonna be able to be selective. You're gonna be able to see a few different homes and say, which one would we like to buy? Rather than just, I think we could potentially maybe win the bidding war on this house. Let's just throw it out there. So that's the thing. It is the greatest time to be a home buyer in at least the last few years. The other thing I really cannot stress enough is this idea of, I'm gonna wait till the market crashes before I try to buy a home, is a really bad idea. It is my favorite meme. I'm sure I put it on this channel before, but the point is people have been waiting for the market to crash for a while and it hasn't happened. And so we've seen double-digit appreciation a few years in a row. And that's the price of waiting. We know we can't really predict the market, but we also know the factors that need to be in place for a housing crash to happen aren't really present. I did a video on that already. And so waiting for the market to crash is just gonna cost you more because home prices are gonna keep appreciating. Appreciation has slowed and it will continue to slow, but it's more of a pullback than it is a drop. Most analysts, including CoreLogic, which is a big one, do not expect to see home prices drop anytime soon. So prices are gonna keep appreciating. You can get into a house right now, you can buy a house. Yes, there's the problem of interest rates, but the thing is with that, and you've heard everybody say this, and I've said it too, you take the hit now, okay, it's gonna be a higher interest rate. If and when those drop, you just refi. It's a very simple process. And then people will say, well, what if they never drop? Well, then this is the best rate you're ever gonna get. So you want this interest rate, unless you plan on renting your entire life. God, there's no better way to stay on that hamster wheel forever than to be a renter. Home ownership builds wealth through appreciation. It has so many benefits that we talk about all the time. And so that's the point. And going back to what I was saying before about my wife and I buying this new house, I'm walking the walk on this interest rate thing. We got about the worst interest rate you could get, just where the market was when we found the house. But okay, the interest rate would have been better a year ago. We wouldn't have been able to get into this house a year ago. We didn't have the buying power. Now that the market is soft, and we do. So you date the interest rate, you marry the home, and when it goes down, you just refi. And that's always an option. It's always been an option and will continue to be an option. So that's it. It's a great time for buyers. Obviously, things change, sometimes on a week-to-week, but generally on a month-to-month basis. By the time you're watching this video, this information may not be the most current. Just call me. You know I'm a real estate agent here in the city of Denver, in the state of Colorado. I would love to help you out. I would love to just give you advice. Hey, Sam, where are things at right now? You know, you shot this video 6 months ago or whatever. Maybe it was last week. Still give me a call. Let's figure out what makes sense for you and what's the best way to help you achieve your goal. If you like this video, I would love if you'd subscribe to this channel. Otherwise, thank you for watching as always. I really do appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon.